Hank here from Free Podcast Tools with my review of the M Audio M-Track Solo. Inside the box, you get the device, a USB-B to USB-A cable. Yes, that's right, the old printer cables. And, of course, some documentation. Build-wise, the device is extremely lightweight. There's some definite give in the knobs on the top of the device. On my device in particular, the input knobs 1 and 2 have more give than the output knob. On the front of the device, you have one XLR/line input, and then in channel 2, you have a line or instrument input, which can be switched between the two. You have a phantom power switch on the front. You have a 3.5 headphone out and an output switch from direct to USB. On the back, you get some stellar RCA red and white output ports. And then you have the highly sought after USB-B port on the back. No Kensington lock on the back of this device, but I guess they're thinking, hey, why bother trying to secure that baby down? So at $49 US, you can get M Audio's Crystal preamp. And I absolutely enjoy the Crystal preamps. However, there's one caveat on the gain on M Audio devices that I've noticed anyway. And it's that from 1 to about 9, you don't get very much gain. And then from 9 to 10, you have a huge amount of gain. And you can also get a lot of preamp noise from about 9.5 to 10, as most preamps do. So I'm going to crank it all the way up, and I'll be quiet for just a minute. So the gain knob can be extremely finicky trying to dial it in, but if you get it dialed in just right, you strike a good balance of low preamp noise and high volume in your recording. Right now I'm peaking at roughly -8 dB on the meter in OBS anyway. So that's a pretty strong signal. And obviously people ask the question, you know what it is. You know what the question is. Can this budget interface drive the SHURE SM7B? Let's do this. Now I'm on the SHURE SM7B, not quite maxed out at 10, and I seem to be peaking out at about -10 dB. Let me go all the way up. All right, this is maxed out on the gain, and I am still in the -9, -10 dB range. So it can drive the SHURE SM7B to an acceptable level. I could stream at this level. I could podcast at this level and be just fine. Or I could turn this down a bit, dial it back a bit, and then in post, if I were podcasting, then I could raise up the level in post-production. I could do noise reduction, etc. But is it capable of running the SHURE SM7B? Of course it is. The M-Track Solo pushes about 54 dB of gain, so it is enough to get you in that ballpark with pretty much any dynamic microphone, in my opinion. Now, I'm going to be extremely transparent on this because I also own the Behringer UM2. Recently, I got the question, is the M Audio M-Track Solo a better buy than the Behringer UM2? Now, I've run both devices back and forth, and I'm going to say this. If you get really careful with the gain knob on the M-Track Solo and dial it in, just tweak it in perfectly, I would prefer to use the M-Track Solo than the Behringer device. In my test, I was able to get the Behringer to an acceptable level with the SHURE SM7B. Definitely wasn't perfect and definitely had a lot of preamp noise. I do feel like at 10, even though it's a little less gain on this device, I do believe that at 10, the preamp was just a little bit quieter than the M-Track Solo, but that just could be because it is delivering less gain than the M-Track Solo. That could be just the difference. So the signal to noise ratio could be similar, so less gain, picking up a little less, and shows on the meter. So I think I would go with the M-Track Solo over the Behringer UM2, but nothing against the Behringer UM2. But just if I wanted to push out more gain, I would choose the M Audio device over the UM2. So let's put that to the test. I'll stick with the SHURE SM7B and I'll plug in the UM2. Now I'm on the UM2 and I have it 100% maxed out. I am peaking at roughly -12, -13, and then consistently my speech is getting up to about between -20 and -15 dB on the meter in OBS. But this is how it sounds. It's 100% maxed out. This is the best I can do with this device. So you see what I'm saying is I'm not in that comfortable range. I'm not getting all the way to -10. Even though I'm trying to project as much as I can, I'm still just way down there. Mostly -20 to -15, just bouncing in between there with some peaks higher up. But this is how it sounds on the Behringer UM2. To reiterate, I do in my headphone, I'm hearing less preamp noise, it sounds like. But again, it could just be because of the gain disparity between the devices. Now, Behringer doesn't really report the gain range on the UM2. I'm going to switch back to the M Audio M-Track Solo. I'm getting a good range in here, and I think it is the superior device to the Behringer UM2 if I had to pick between the two. Behringer UM2 is a solid device. Definitely would use it with a little less gain hungry microphones or condenser microphones for sure. And currently the UM2 is just $29.99 US. That's a great price. But the M-Track Solo, $49 US, I think is a pretty good value. The crystal preamp and the inputs that you get for this cheap amount, I think it's a pretty solid device. But as always, what do you think? Chime in the comments down below. Thank you.